This is Vikir van Baskerville, the loyal hunting dog of the Baskerville clan, and this is the story of how his own family put him to death. For his entire life, he was the faithful hound of his clan and his father, and this was the reward he got for it. His crime was a lie, a false accusation that he had colluded with the demons. And for that lie, he was dragged to the guillotine and beheaded. But as the blade came down, Vikir made himself a promise. If he was ever given another chance at life, never again would he live as a dog that gets put down once the hunt is over. Then his eyes snap open. Where am I? He gasps, his body heavy, surrounded by a wall of noise. Everything feels wrong and unfamiliar, and for a moment he wonders if this could be some kind of afterlife. Could this be hell itself? That is his first terrified thought as the world swims into focus. But this is no hell. He is back in the grand mansion of the Baskerville clan, the very place where his life began. And standing over him is a face he could never forget. The head of the clan, Hugo Luke Baskerville, sneering down at a room of squalling newborns. Damn lowly things, he mutters. None of them seem special to Hugo. It looks like a gathering of trash this time around. He scoffs, unimpressed with the whole litter. Then his gaze lands on one quiet infant. There appears to be at least one slightly less noisy piece of trash, he remarks, not knowing what he is really looking at. He gives an order to move the babies to the cradle of swords, and the servants answer at once, "Yes, sir." And in that tiny newborn body, Vikir's mind is screaming. This man is the main culprit behind the false pretense that got him executed. Hugo de Baskerville. Seeing Hugo this young, he is finally certain of the impossible. Vikir van Baskerville, has regressed all the way back to when he was just a newborn baby. His previous life was that of a hunting hound. Born an illegitimate child of the clan, he was raised and trained in the harshest of conditions. A hound has to be loyal and dedicated to his mission, and Vikir's missions were assassination, espionage, ambush, and blackmail. He took care of every dirty deed imaginable, all to turn Baskerville into the greatest of the 7 great clans. And the reason for all that loyalty was painfully simple. He just wanted to be acknowledged by Hugo and by the clan. 10 years after the gate to the demon world opened, the long war against the demons finally ended in humanity's victory. And then came the reward for the dog who gave a lifetime of loyalty. Kill the dog after the hunt is over. That old saying was his whole fate, thrown away the moment he stopped being useful. The only real reason he was executed was that the hound had learned too much. As if I'd ever live such a crummy life again, he swears. He wants his vengeance right now, this instant, but there is nothing a helpless baby can do. Then it hits him. Being moved to the cradle of swords is the perfect opportunity to grow his strength. For now, he decides he needs to become stronger. The cradle of swords. It is one of the brutal trials every child born to the Baskerville clan must face. The newborns are thrown into a labyrinth of blades and tested on their potential as they crawl toward the legendary river Styx that lies across it. The Styx can strengthen a baby's body like steel, but there is a strict limit to how many infants can ever receive its blessing. In his past life, Vikir was pushed aside by his siblings and never got to receive the river's effect at all. But this time, he vows it will be different. He is going to monopolize the blessing of the river Styx for as long as he possibly can. He plunges in, and the river water seeps through his wounds and rewrites even his bones. To think just having a good start can make this much difference, he marvels. So he grits his teeth and refuses to surface. Endure it, he tells himself, no matter how painful it gets. Endure, endure, endure. On the shore, the servants panic. "Young master, you must come out," they beg. "You will die if you stay submerged any longer. Pull him out, we have to rescue him." Hugo coolly asks how long the child has been under. "About 7 minutes, sir," answers the head butler, John Barrymore. 7 minutes. "He might die, sir," the servants cry, horrified that any infant could last so long beneath the water. Even Hugo himself calls out for the boy to come up now, "My son." But Vikir recognizes that voice at once. It's Hugo. As if I come up that easily, he thinks, digging in his heels. He is determined to absorb as much of the river's power as he possibly can, right up until the very end. When he finally emerges, the onlookers are stunned. Not only did he plunge into the Styx, they gasp. He even drank from it. Hugo asks the child's name. That is young Master Vikir van Baskerville, comes the reply. Vikir, Hugo repeats. It appears a very greedy son has been born, he says, amused, with no idea of the enemy he has just made. Smile while you still can, Hugo, Vikir seethes from inside that infant body. For now, he knows it is still time to quietly sharpen his fangs. But when the time comes that he can take his master's head in a single bite, the Baskerville name will fade away from history, and it will be by his hand. By the hand of Vikir van Baskerville, the Iron-Blooded Hound reborn to devour the family that betrayed him. He was born Vikir van Baskerville, the illegitimate child of Hugo le Baskerville, the head of a legendary sword clan. Vikir van Baskerville, a name the clan would only ever remember as a bastard and a tool. By the age of 8, he already had talent the outside world would have called genius. But inside the Baskerville clan, that genius was merely average. At 20, he was handed the dirty work, assassinations, gathering intelligence, and subjugations. By 29, he had fallen behind the main house and felt the hard limit of his own swordsmanship. At 30, the gate to the demon world tore open and the invasion began. For years, he survived that hell, cutting down demon after demon. At 39, the long war finally ended in humanity's victory. And at 40, the loyal hunting dog was at last called forward to receive his reward. But those rewards were nothing like what a lifetime of loyalty had earned him. They were slander, false charges, and the blade of the guillotine. His own clan discarded him like a dog and took his head. Then his eyes open again, and he realizes exactly where he is. That means he has been reborn as an infant, and he already succeeded in absorbing the power of the river Styx. With this, he thinks he will have a far better starting point than he did the first time around. Nearby, a servant mutters in confusion, wondering why the madam ordered her to place something in young Master Vikir's cradle. Vikir knows at once that something is wrong. There should be no one in this house who would give a gift to an illegitimate child like him. And then he sees exactly what was slipped into his cradle. A bloody mamba, one of the rarest and most poisonous snakes alive, coiled beside a helpless infant. Not just one either, 2 of the deadly serpents planted just to be rid of him. There are not many women called Madam in Baskerville, and Vikir understands the motive instantly. She is clearing away the competition for her own child. To do it, she is willing to let even the other infants of the nursery be massacred alongside him. As expected of Baskerville, he thinks grimly. The savagery runs all the way down to the cradle. But this baby is no ordinary infant. Vikir resolves to end the snakes with his own 2 hands. The next day, the people of Baskerville are horrified when they find a child sleeping peacefully among the corpses of the dead snakes. That day, the nannies on night watch are tortured and executed, yet no one ever discovers how the snakes truly died. Only one young hunting dog knew the truth of what had happened that night. After that, 8 years pass. In a classroom of young masters, an instructor begins teaching the ranks. A swordsman climbs on his way to the top. Those who cannot channel mana into their blade are mere sword beginners. Those who can imbue even a little are sword experts. When that mana finally flows out as a visible aura, they're called a sword graduate. And when the aura can solidify and change shape at the swordsman's will, they earn the title of swordmaster. The very best of Baskerville, Sir Hugo himself, is a swordmaster, the instructor says, and the children gasp in awe. Vikir already knows this. Hugo is a sword master even now, and he must recover all the strength he had before regressing before the coming-of-age ceremony arrives. With the body he strengthened by submerging in the river Styx for 7 full minutes, and a mind sharp enough to grasp 100 things from one, his talent now sits on a completely different level from the other young masters. The instructors whisper that the clan head will be overjoyed when he hears of young Master Vikir's achievements. But behind that calm face, an 8-year-old Vikir is only asking himself one thing. How many years will he need to kill Hugo? His quiet planning is interrupted by a sneer. Hey, trash half! A group of legitimate children corner him, taunting the illegitimate half about the strange rumors swirling around him. They mock the stories that he was submerged in the river Styx for 7 minutes, and that he killed 2 poisonous snakes while still in his cradle. But Vikir knows these 3 faces very well. They're the ones who pinned the false charges on him and stabbed him in the back as he fled in his previous life. Nicknamed Hugo Lou Baskerville's Trident, the 3 9-year-old brothers jeer at him to cut out his bluffs. One of them leans in with a cruel grin and says he doesn't think he likes Vikir very much. Vikir weighs them coldly. In just 10 years, these boys will grow into tricky enemies, so it might be wise to pull the weeds before they take root. The brothers taunt that time in the river Styx turns a body to steel, so blades can no longer wound it. That's what they heard, they say. So that means, they laugh, that Vikir won't die even if they stab him, right? They scoff at the 7-minute legend, and one boy swears he will eat his own hand if Vikir survives even 3 minutes underwater. Young children really are more brutal, Vikir muses. Fine, he decides, he will play along for a little while. They dunk him, certain no such legend could be real. 1 minute later, nothing. He is still holding strong. 3 minutes later, still holding strong. 10 minutes later, the boys are in panic. The impossible legend was real. Terrified, they scream that this isn't fun anymore and beg to let him go. Then Vikir moves, and one of the brothers shrieks, demanding to know what he is doing. Why so scared? Vikir asks calmly. Didn't you say you would eat your own hand? The brothers try to bluster that they aren't afraid of him, that they aren't scared at all. Then one of them looks down and realizes his finger has been cut clean off. The others panic, telling him to calm down and rush to the priest to have it reattached. But Vikir asks quietly, who said they could go. The eldest snarls that Vikir seems to have forgotten they are a year older than him. But Vikir tells him he has it backwards. It's the elder brother who has forgotten something. If you have strength and talent, age means nothing. This is Baskerville. Then he raises his blade with a cold smile. Let's play until the very end, brothers. In the Baskerville clan, strength and talent are all that matter. Age counts for nothing, and young Vikir is about to prove it. He tears through his older brothers with brutal ease, then calmly tells them to keep playing. The onlookers can only gape. The rumors about this bastard son were true after all. One battered brother cries out for mercy, but Vikir shows none. You bastard! One of them snarls through the pain, glaring at the boy who has already surpassed them all. Don't be scared, Vikir tells them coldly. They can still heal, he says, if they get treated in time. But he isn't done. He warns them he won't let them simply walk out of the room. And at this rate, they'll be handicapped for life. Then he offers a cruel bargain. He'll be generous, he says, and let just one of them go. Really, they gasp. Which one of us will you let go, they beg. That, Vikir answers, is for them to decide among themselves. He warns them not to take too long, telling them to decide quickly. After all, he reasons, at least one of them should live, shouldn't they? The brothers crack under the pressure, each one pointing at another to be the sacrifice. Betrayal and horror ripple between them as their bond shatters right there on the floor. And just like that, the Baskerville brothers' unbreakable trident crumbles from within. Elsewhere, the clan head's Butler John Barrymore reports fresh trouble. There's been another clash with the Morgue clan at the Ruby Mine, which they now claim as their own territory. Then comes the news that changes his mood. Young Master Vikir took first place in the written exam. Is that so? The clan head murmurs. He asks about the practical exams. They begin in 5 days, and the children's castle's guardian knights are away preparing. That means the castle stands completely empty right now. But Barrymore has more to report. There's something he must say about the children's castle. There was a rather big fight between the young masters recently. A big fight, the clan head repeats. His only question is chillingly practical. How many died? No one died, Barrymore says, but the damage is grim. The eldest's teeth are wrecked, the middle brother's jaw caved in, and the youngest of the 3 lost his left index finger. They've recovered with treatment, he adds, but taken heavy mental damage. It's strange, the clan head notes. since those three were so close they'd never turn on each other. That's the point, Barrymore explains. They didn't turn on each other. Another sibling turned them against one another, a younger brother just 1 year their junior. The very young master who placed first in the written exam. Young Master Vikir. Later, Vikir is summoned before the clan head himself. You've grown a lot, the man says as the boy greets him politely. I heard you crippled the triplets in the advanced class, the clan head remarks. But didn't they get proper treatment? Vikir replies evenly. I wasn't talking about their bodies, the clan head says. I meant how you crippled their hearts. Since that day, the three eat apart and no longer speak. Their famed three-way combination attack was a work of art, and Vikir has left a massive rift between them. Don't you think you did something wrong? The clan head asks. Wrong? What did I do wrong? Vikir answers. Didn't you turn your older brothers into total wrecks? The clan head presses. But I'm stronger than them, Vikir says without a flicker of guilt. How could someone who's strong ever be making a mistake? Your brothers came here before you, the clan head tells him, and generously forgave you. Do you still feel no guilt? Forgave me, Vikir echoes, and the word stirs something buried deep in his memories. He remembers a time from before his regression, a moment from the life he already lived and lost. The last survivor of a clan the Baskervilles had destroyed once came to face Hugo directly. She had become a nun over the years, and she came to tell him that she forgave him. And after hearing that, Vikir recalls, Hugo answered her with words he would never forget. Forgiveness, Hugo declared, is nothing more than the sorry excuse of the weak who can't get revenge. Strength is justice, and to be weak is a sin. It seems, the clan head says now, that Vikir understands the Baskerville family motto all too well. Pleased, the clan head calls to his butler. Barrymore. Yes, clan head. Take him to the food warehouse, he orders, and give the boy whatever snacks he wants. But don't get greedy, he adds. Give him only as much as he can carry. Thank you, clan head. Vikir beams, asking if he can have chocolate. Before he goes, the clan head leaves him with one instruction. The upcoming midterm assessment. Do well, son. And don't lose to anyone in the main house, he warns. At the warehouse, the staff present their finest chocolate, the kind the gourmet young ladies of the Morgue clan adore. It's the highest quality product they acquired with great difficulty, they boast. But Vikir refuses. I don't need anything processed, he says. He wants cacao beans instead. He tells them, the kind with a very strong flavor. Are you talking about the unprocessed beans? A servant stammers in disbelief. These are bloody beans, an extreme kind of cacao, where a single bean can make 100 liters of chocolate. The staff can't believe he's eating the bitter beans raw. He must really love the taste of chocolate, they murmur. They think he's being clever, ordered to take only as much as he can carry. He's found a way to hold the most chocolate possible within those exact limits. Should we process these for your room? They ask. No, Vikir says. Just give them to me as is. The staff can only wonder if the young master simply has a very unique personality. But Vikir never wanted the chocolate to eat it. The true purpose of these bloody beans will reveal itself in the practical exam, just 5 days away. Because on that day, an unprecedented, massive incident is going to strike the Baskerville clan. And whether the world is ready or not, Vikir's plan is already in motion. The Baskerville clan is known to the world as the Berserker clan, and every child born into it is put through a brutal education program. Barely able to walk, they are forced to climb steep mountains for stamina training, and resting outside designated times is simply not allowed. At bedtime, they're made to sleep beside the corpse of a demonic creature, or even a living baby one, just to adapt them to the harshness of their world. The young hounds face assessments of gruesome difficulty, and this savage upbringing continues until the moment they turn 8 years old. That is why the clan earned its terrifying name. Now comes the practical assessment, the survival exam, and the young hounds are gathered at Mt. Rouge et Lenoir, a mountain packed with demonic creatures captured along the borders of their territory. The clan's instructor, Guide Dog Pavlov van Baskerville, lays out the rules for the young masters. The assessment itself, he says, is simple. Survive here for 1 month and hunt strong demonic creatures. Those are the only two things they need to keep in mind. He explains the scoring. 10 points for saving a life, 30 for doing it uninjured, 50 for surviving by eliminating another young master, and 70 for hunting down a demonic creature and living to tell it, and a full 90 points for meeting every single one of those conditions. On top of that, each person is handed a badge, and stealing someone else's badge counts toward bonus points. But die and you score 0. There is no way to reach 100 points. He warns them to keep Sir Hugo's teachings in mind, because letting your guard down here means immediate death. He advises them not to leave the restricted area, since empty Le Rouge et Le Noir is full of unexplored, dangerous zones. Better to stay where the subjugated demonic creatures roam. The Guardian Knights will secretly score them throughout the exam. As they watch, the young masters whisper about one boy. Is that the one who stayed submerged in the river Styx for 7 full minutes? They say he choked 2 venomous snakes to death while still in his cradle. He got full marks on the written test too, they murmur. Now let's see if he can perform in the practical assessment. That prodigy is Vikir. Mon, le rouge et le noir, et thanks to himself. It's been a while since I was last here. The bell will signal the start of the assessment. The instructor tells them he prays for their success. The moment it begins, the young masters scatter. One rushes to claim an advantageous spot he scouted during last year's exam. Others plot to cheat the system. There's no rule saying you have to survive alone. One reasons, so they decide to trail him and steal his points. But their target snaps back. Don't order me around. He barks. I'll do fine on my own, so focus on yourself. Meanwhile, Vikir moves calmly, already reading the game. Has it already begun? This exam doesn't encourage killing, he notes, but it isn't forbidden either. Since there are point deductions for it, everyone will try their hardest to avoid killing others with their own hands. And the guide dogs watching over everything will make sure deaths are kept to a minimum. Vikir already understands the exam better than anyone running it. His own assigned guide dog trails behind, watching him push toward the edge of the map. This is near an unexplored area, the Guardian notes. How far out do you plan on going, young Master Vikir? He's a genius who has shown excellent skills since infancy, the Guardian thinks. I'm looking forward to what he'll show me. Vikir picks a spot he remembers. Was it around here? This ground should be soft enough, he decides. Now that he's chosen where he'll be staying for the time being, he turns to a very different plan. Is it time for me to enjoy my vacation? He wonders. His guide dog nearly chokes. Vacation? For several days straight. All Vikir does is sleep and dig a hole, breaking only to hunt for food and gather firewood. The Guardian watches in disbelief. Is he really planning to just hide here and kill time? Were the rumors of his genius nothing but talk? The guide dog wonders. There's no point watching over him if he's only going to hide. Eventually, the Guardian gives up and leaves. Vikir waits, then thinks to himself, is he finally gone? That solitude was exactly the point. A voice pipes up about cacao beans being the best for removing the gamey smell from meat, especially concentrated bloody ones. Camping like this, Vikir admits, is a bit nostalgic. With his watcher finally gone, the hindrance has been removed, and his preparations are complete. Now, Vikir asks himself with a grin, shall I begin my hunt? A few days later, deep within the unexplored area, Vikir presses forward. Beyond this point lies land nobody has mapped. But to him it's familiar ground. These parts were basically my backyard when I was a scout, he recalls from his past life. He tracks his prey by scent. A scorching smell that stings the nose, dead burnt roots. That thing's habitat should be somewhere around here. Then he spots it, burning excitement in the air. There's only one demonic creature in these parts that leaves an excretion like this. I got sick of them during my scout days, he admits, but seeing one now is quite welcome. It's a hellhound. His target lets out a terrified cry as Vikir closes in. The beast is a monster of legend, a being that carries hell in its mouth and brings disaster to any who cross it, its eyes and jaws pouring out solar fire from the depths of the underworld. And Vikir strides toward it without a shred of fear, ready to hunt the very creature others flee from. Deep in the trial grounds, Vikir comes face to face with demonic creatures born from the hellfires of Oil Hell. They are hellhounds. Even in his past life, Vikir couldn't fight a single one alone until he turned 18. So a head-on brawl would be suicide for his current 8-year-old body. But he knows a method that lets even a child bring down a hellhound. The first weakness of a hellhound. The beast can only charge in a straight line, and it struggles to follow sharp changes in direction. The second weakness of a hellhound. For some reason, demonic creatures cannot cross water, no matter how little of it there is. So Vikir lures it, and the slowed hellhound closes in, exposing the fatal weakness of dog-type monsters. They open their mouths wide when they run, and right into that gaping maw, he flings his secret weapon. The hound whimpers and staggers, because chocolate is pure poison to dog-type monsters. And this is no ordinary sweet. It's a bloody bean, potent enough to make 100 liters of chocolate, so the effect is immense. It seems the hunting dog from hell can't beat chocolate. The poison hit the stomach and heart first, Vikir reasons, but the tough ribs shield them. He needs a spot already weakened, yet left unprotected by the ribcage. That spot is its kidneys. His blade finds the mark, and the hellhound goes down. Killing a demonic creature grants his body experience, a kind of karma, and that karma strengthens him. His short sword already feels lighter. At this pace, he'll regain the strength he once had long before he becomes an adult. He wonders what kind of face Hugo will make when he learns an 8-year-old hunted a demonic creature rated B+. This should lock in first place in the practical exam. And Vikir has already decided exactly what reward he'll ask for. Something he could only dream about before he regressed. He'll monopolize the one object nobody in this era knows the true value of. He raises his blade to take the head, but then he pauses. More hellhounds arrive, drawn by the dying creature's screams. Are you here to avenge your colleague? He wonders. How thoughtful of them. He smirks. He never intended to hunt just one, and he still has plenty of beans left. Come at me. But instead of charging, the pack shrinks back. Are they scared of the killing intent radiating from a mere 8-year-old? Nice. Then something feels off. Normally, hellhounds would rather die than submit to their prey. Unless a Cerberus. Something huge crashes onto the ridge. A Cerberus is a demonic creature with a terrifying danger rating, and it should be deep in the 7th ridge, not here in the 1st. Then Vikir notices something. It's bleeding. Looking closer, there are arrow wounds all over its body. Was someone trying to hunt it? That's when it clicks. The far side of the mountain is the barbarian tribe's territory. If the beast was chased all the way down here by the barbarians, then it's already badly hurt. This is an opportunity. An A+ ranked demonic creature with fatal wounds. And Vikir decides to take it down even if it means using everything he has. Vikir had been hiding his true skills within the Baskerville clan. His mastery over the sword had already reached the stage of a high sword expert, and his command of the Baskerville Third Fong had reached a level other hounds only touch in adulthood. I can do this, he tells himself. It's definitely possible against an injured Cerberus. Before regressing, through the entire war against the demons, Vikir's sword techniques had been honed until not a single movement was wasted in killing an enemy. On top of that, his body had been strengthened by the river Styx. The weapons he carried were more than enough to wound the injured Cerberus. Or so he thought. He believed his strikes were dealing damage. But a single moment of carelessness opened a window, and the Cerberus seized it, tearing in with its claws. The blow lands hard, and Vikir coughs, reeling from the impact. For the first time, he isn't sure he can win. I don't know, he admits, as the monstrous beast looms over him. A brutal blow lands, and Vikir is sent reeling. For a heartbeat, he blacks out completely. He drifts back to his senses and realizes what just happened. He lost consciousness. He took a Cerberus attack head-on, and the impact nearly ended him right there. His entire left arm is screaming in pain. For a terrifying moment, he wonders if it got torn clean off. Even with the beast already wounded, Vikir walked away this hurt from a single clash. He credits his survival to the effects of the river Styx, the brutal training that reforged his young body. Still, the damage is real. He knows he would never survive a second hit like that. It is a desperate situation. But even cornered, a veteran hunter always looks for the best course forward. So he weighs the smartest move he can make right now, and he lands on the 36th stratagem: retreat. When the enemy is too strong, run. He knows if it weren't for that wound on Cerberus's side, he would already have been caught and torn apart. He sprints toward the steel fence marking the edge of the boundary, the wounded monster hot on his heels. His whole plan hinges on reaching a specific spot he prepared in advance. If Cerberus catches him before he gets there, he is dead. It is that simple. Eyes darting, he searches the ground. It should be right around here. Then he spots it. Found it. Just a little further, he tells himself, legs burning, the beast closing in behind him. A little more. Then, at the exact right instant, he springs the trap. Now, Cerberus lunges after him and slams straight into it. Vikir turns on the snarling monster with a grim smile. Welcome to the cradle of swords, Cerberus. Even he can hardly believe it. The trap he built to use against the Hellhound pack has instead snared Cerberus itself. He explains his logic. Just like a Hellhound, Cerberus is a dog-type monster. The bloody bean extract coating the spearheads should hit it like poison. The beast doesn't drop in one hit, and Vikir figures it must be a high-ranking demonic creature to endure this much. So he watches the wounded monster stagger and starts counting its steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And on the 7th step, the beast finally collapses. Exactly 7 steps, just like the legend said. The rumors were true, because one wooden spear he threw was different from all the rest. It was tipped with the poisoned fang of a bloody mamba, a venom so potent its victims can barely walk 7 steps after a single bite. He's glad he stashed that away back when he was young, saving it for a moment exactly like this. He senses the creature's energy fading and knows all 3 heads have finally died. Then a practical problem hits him as he stares at the massive corpse. How on earth is he supposed to carry this thing back? Cerberus's cause of death will be obvious, and he figures the guardian knight who watched him sharpen his spear can testify on his behalf. But before any of that, there's one more thing he needs to do. Cerberus is a gatekeeper-type monster that guards its own territory, which means there is definitely a dungeon nearby that it was defending. A dungeon is a strange hidden space that holds treasure and sometimes powerful demonic creatures as well. With the gatekeeper dead, the dungeon is likely empty. And by coating himself in Cerberus's scent, Vikir can slip past most demonic creatures without a fight. He reads the trail like a hunter. Dry crumbling dirt, rotten leaves, damp roots, and the footprints and drool the beast left behind. He'll follow those traces straight back to its lair. And soon enough, he finds it. Found you. This is the dungeon Cerberus had been guarding all along. He remembers this place from before his regression. In his old life, it wouldn't be discovered for another 10 years, and by then it was completely empty. But things are different now. Beneath the smell of decay, he can pick out the faint scent of mana. That tells him one thing for certain. This dungeon hasn't been cleared yet. He peers inside. The light can't reach the far end, and it looks far deeper than he expected. With a hungry grin, he steps into the dark, more than a little curious about whatever treasure is waiting for him inside. Deep in unexplored Baskerville territory, Vikir studies veins of ruby glittering across the stone. He recognizes it at once. The wall is connected to the Red Fong Mountain, a branch of the Great Mount Le Rouge et Lenoir. Then light spills out from the dark. This, he realizes, must be the inside of a hidden dungeon. The rubies drink in mana and release their own glow, lighting the chamber from within. Somehow it is bright deep inside the dungeon. But Vikir isn't the first to stand here. Someone came before him and left something behind. A body lies dried and broken on the ground, the blood long since gone brown. Quite some time has clearly passed. Beside the corpse waits a written record. For now his own name doesn't matter. So Vikir simply keeps calling himself the vague alias Cain. He notices something chilling in the handwriting. This penmanship has been passed down in the Baskerville clan for generations, which means this dead man was a Baskerville too. The record opens with a warning. The writer says he set it down so that those who come after him would not repeat his mistakes. His household's legends spoke of an ancient dungeon, and his younger brother Abel stumbled upon this very place. Together the brothers braved countless trials as they raided it. After slaughtering endless monsters, the two finally reached this stone chamber, and there they came across the ultimate riddle. That single riddle chained them in place for 3 whole years. They must have craved the treasure within that badly. The riddle itself was carved plain. What entered was once one, but within has become two. Only as one may they leave. The brothers pondered the grim words for a long time, and both arrived at the very same conclusion. As twins, they reasoned they were once one in their mother's womb, then split in two at birth. To leave with their prize, the two of them had to become one again. And that meant the terrible thing neither wanted to say aloud, that only one of them could walk out with the treasure they coveted. In the end, after a long and brutal fight, the writer killed his own younger brother. Only one person now remained in the stone chamber. But nothing changed. Even with his brother dead, the chamber refused to yield a single thing. The two had truly been made one, yet still he could obtain nothing. He had murdered his little brother for nothing at all. So he leaves one final message for any brave descendant who reaches this place. Leave immediately, the record begs. This demonic cave holds nothing to gain. It only drives people mad with greed. Vikir sums up the warning coldly. Even after overcoming everything, there was no reward. But then a thought stops him, because unlike the writer, he isn't a twin at all. He wasn't born a twin, yet the riddle set before him is exactly the same. That can only mean one thing. Cain and Abel read the riddle wrong. He turns the words over again. What entered was once one, but within has become two. Only as one may they leave. What could it really mean? It hits him. No way. He breathes. The answer suddenly obvious. Cain and Abel were simply unlucky brothers. Because there were two of them, they were trapped by their own assumptions and could never solve it. The real answer was in the dungeon itself. The dark tunnel stands in perfect contrast to the bright stone chamber. Entering, a person is one within the pitch-black tunnel. But the moment they reach the glowing chamber, the ruby's light splits them into two. So if the chamber goes dark again, the final stage should unlock. The riddle was never about a twin. The answer, Vikir realizes, is his shadow. Kill the light, and the two become one once more. He snuffs out the ruby glow, and the chamber finally answers, opening the way the brothers died searching for. There it is, the very thing the two brothers killed each other over. Vikir stares at what rises before him. Is this the demonic cave's relic? A dark blade waits, one only the bloodline of the Baskerville clan can draw, Beelzebub. He can hardly believe it. This is the Beelzebub, the relic hidden at the very bottom of this place. He remembers seeing it once, in an illustration from a mythology book back in his past life's youth. The fly of gluttony, Beelzebub, one of the great demons of ancient legend. In the old myths, unprecedented great demons once invaded the continent as 7 calamities, the demon constellations. To stop them, the heads of the 7 great clans each stepped up to face one. And the demon the Baskerville had faced was that very fly of gluttony, Beelzebub. The subdued demon's remains were sealed away in Baskerville territory, and the demonic energy it spewed drew monsters to gather there. Or so the legend went, though no one living still believes it. But Vikir knows the legend was true. In the future, this very sword falls into the hands of the demons and brings death to countless humans on the battlefield. This life, he vows, that will never happen. Because now, this blade shall be his. He reaches for the demon's sword, and it does not come quietly, a jolt tearing through him as he grips it. But he holds on, a sword forged from the remains of a demon constellation. Claiming Beelzebub is an unexpected windfall he never planned for. With the demon blade in hand, Vikir wonders just how much stronger he can grow in this second life. And he can't wait to find out. Deep in the uncleared dungeon, Vikir decides there's nothing more to gain from this spot. Time to head back, he thinks. But something stops him cold. He mutters, a strange sensation crawling through him. A wave of dizziness hits, and he realizes it isn't dizziness at all. It's hunger, a hunger that isn't entirely his own. Something inside him is demanding to be fed. Is it telling me to feed it something? He wonders. The appetite is so insane it feels like his stomach is tearing itself apart. His senses sharpen with the craving, and suddenly something smells absolutely delicious. The gnawing pull drags his attention across the cavern. Are you telling me there's something to eat over there? He asks. And there it is. The hellhound corpse he killed earlier, the very monster he took down with his poison trap. As the blood flows in through a presence he calls Beelzebub, his stomach finally feels like it's settling into place. Whatever this thing is, it clearly starved for a very long time. The realization chills him. The withering trees and dead land of Mont Loup Rouge, E.T., Lenoir may have been drained by Beelzebub's endless hunger. How much would he have to feed it just to sate it? A status window flickers to life inside him, listing what's been consumed, slot by slot, starting with the hellhound. He recognizes what he's looking at. Is this Beelzebub's unique skill, he asks. Beelzebub, the gluttonous fly. Legend said it could turn an opponent's ability into its own, absorbing skills without limit, while those it devoured were utterly destroyed. But because he's working with a corpse, 3 skills is the maximum he can absorb. First up, Hellhound's Hemorrhage, a skill that makes even the tiniest scratch gush obscene amounts of blood. The hunger flares again, wild and demanding. Wait, Vikir warns as the power surges. He forces himself to hold back. He can't devour the whole corpse. If it's too damaged when the examiners inspect it later, he'll have no way to explain himself. Stop it, he commands, wrestling the ravenous instinct back under control. The window updates with his haul, 3 filled slots buzzing before him. Incinerate from the Cerberus, Hemorrhage from the Hellhound, and Rapid Regeneration. Rapid Regeneration catches him off guard. It must have also eaten the brown rat corpse he'd hidden underneath the Cerberus. Still, landing the Incinerate skill from the Cerberus is a massive harvest. Being burned alive is one of the worst ways to die, far fouler even than the Hellhound's Hemorrhage. With the demonic creature already prepared for the practical exam, Vikir figures he can finally just relax until the assessment is over. The young hounds of the Baskerville clan return from finishing their practical assessment. The evaluation follows, and the corpses of the demonic creatures the young hounds caught are crafted into shields, swords, and necklaces, then returned to them as their spoils. But one corpse a young hound brought back leaves the watching Baskervilles absolutely stunned. Young Master Vikir van Baskerville, just 8 years old, had accidentally wandered into the unexplored area during his exam and hunted a Cerberus, a monster with a terrifying danger rating. The elders can't believe it. A high-rated demonic creature even the clan's guardian knights struggle to face. It had been injured by barbarian tribes and poisoned, they hear, but what poison is strong enough to fell a Cerberus? And where did a child get it? Nothing else was recorded in the hunting log, a servant reports. He tried to question the young master, but Vikir simply said he was tired and went back to the dormitory. That brat's already so sly, the clan head muses. Knowledge is power, after all, and power is your worth. He admits he was genuinely surprised such talent came from a young master carrying the lesser Van Aim rather than La. But this clan head is different from the ones before him. When he raises a hunting dog, he doesn't care about bloodline, royal family, or prostitute. All that matters to him is talent and determination. Even weaklings can come from good bloodlines, he says. Do you understand what I'm saying? Still, he needs something to lift his mood. It's fine, he decides. I shall summon young Master Vikir, he announces. Before the clan head, the question comes plainly. I heard you killed a Cerberus during the practical exam. How did you do it? Vikir answers without flinching. I fed it chocolate to kill it. Chocolate, the man repeats. To dog-type demonic creatures, chocolate is practically a deadly poison. I see. Is that why you requested chocolate? He asks. Yes, Vikir replies. The onlookers can only marvel at the cold back and forth, questions and answers with no warmth. Hardly the way a father and son should speak. There's one more thing. I heard you wouldn't answer properly when he asked about the specifics of your hunt, the clan head says. Why? Vikir's reply is blunt. It was because he isn't my master. Then who is? The clan head asks. Since I'm a member of this clan, the clan head is my master, Vikir says. Who else could it be? A satisfied nod. You've learned well. As a reward, the corpse of the creature Vikir caught will be given solely to him. And since he placed first in the practical exam, the clan head grants him a single wish. Vikir has been waiting for exactly this. With this, he thinks, I'll be able to get everything I wanted. His wish stuns the room. I wish to enter the 10,000-book library. The 10,000-book library, a massive archive buried in the deepest part of the Baskerville clan's main castle, one of the biggest libraries in the entire empire. But it's forbidden ground. Were you aware, the clan head asks, that only the clan head, the vice-clan head, and members of the main house are allowed to enter it? If it isn't allowed, I'll give up on it, Vikir says aloud, while privately thinking there's no other choice but to sneak in then. But the answer surprises him. You can enter it, the clan head declares. There's a condition. Read Baskerville swordsmanship. 6 fong, kept in the 6th restricted area in the deepest part of the library. Vikir barely hides his shock. The 6th fong? The gathered elders are scandalized. That Hugo is permitting an illegitimate child to read the 6th fong? It's unheard of. No illegitimate child bearing the middle name Van has ever read beyond the 4th fong. But Vikir keeps his composure. No need to be so shaken, he tells himself. In the end, it's only the 6th fong. He knows something they don't. Right now, Hugo is only at the 7th fong, but before Vikir regressed, this man could draw out 9, and he hasn't forgotten a moment of it. The scorn he received as an illegitimate child still burns in his memory. His vow is absolute. In this life, I'll surpass Hugo, because through this, he'll claim the swordsmanship scripture holding Baskerville's true pure essence, a text discovered only late in his past life, written by the clan's first head, the man who slew the 7 calamities. And who's going to hand that scripture to me, Vikir wonders. He already knows the answer. Hugo de Baskerville. You'll be the one handing it to me. I'll be looking forward to it. Out loud, Vikir only bows. Thank you. I will do my best to meet your expectations. And to himself, a quiet promise. You won't even know the value of the thing you're handing over. Vikir finally stands inside the Baskerville clan's legendary 10,000-book library. It's the first time he has ever seen it in person with his own eyes. Shelf after shelf holds the scriptures for every swordsmanship he ever craved before his regression. Severing incisor, crushing molar, stabbing canine, double impaling snaggletooth, lying wisdom tooth. Every technique he once dreamed of is right here. But there's a cruel rule. In the Baskerville clan, no matter how much mana an illegitimate child has, they're forbidden from learning any swordsmanship above the 4th fong. It's a policy to make sure the pawns bred to be hunting dogs can never bare their fangs at the true masters. That's why it stuns him that the sword master Hugo himself offered to let Vikir study a 6th fong swordsmanship. Before his regression, he could never have dreamed of it in a million years. Hugo only allowed it because he was certain an 8-year-old could never memorize such a technique in a single day. But Hugo doesn't know that before regressing, Vikir studied the theory of the 1st through 4th fangs like a madman, until he could correctly guess at the 5th fong he was never even taught. The only thing that ever stopped him was one flaw. After drawing the 4th fong, he was forced to snap the flow of his mana, and that's why he could never complete the 5th. Baskerville swordsmanship is measured in fangs. Level 1 is 1 fong. Level 2 is 2 fangs, each defined by the crimson sword aura that erupts as the fangs are drawn. But Vikir doesn't care about the 6th fong. He came into this library today with a completely different goal in mind. What he truly desires is a level far higher than anything the clan would ever hand him. The library attendants are baffled when a young master turns to leave so soon. The real swordsmanship scriptures are deeper inside. They tell him, offering to fetch anything he forgot. Vikir simply says he's already done with his business here. Already? They press him to read more before going. He waves them off, saying he only plans to skim a few other scriptures on his way out, so they can ignore him and get back to work. The attendants smirk among themselves. If it were them, they'd be reading the prized scriptures deep inside, not wandering off toward the junk. Does the boy just not understand their value because he's young, they wonder. Vikir lets them think whatever they want. There's no way they could know that buried among these dusty, worthless miscellaneous scriptures, a real treasure lies hidden. His fingers stop. Huh, found it. Lurking embedded teeth. This is the one. He's absolutely sure of it. It's a basic first Fong scripture that not even Baskerville children bother to read. With so many of its middle pages torn out, no wonder it was dumped into the lowly miscellaneous pile. But Vikir knows the true value of this ruined little book. Before his regression, the Hound unit he belonged to discovered a strange relic deep inside a dungeon on the border of Mt. Louge et Lenoir. It was a single torn-out page of a swordsmanship scripture. The page was written in ancient Baskerville handwriting. Sensing something was off about it, Hugo ordered his people to comb the entire 10,000-book library for the book it belonged to. That book was the very scripture called Lurking Embedded Teeth. Penned by an ancestral Baskerville, it detailed the method to reach the impossible 10th Fong. Losing his mind at the mere thought of the 10th Fong, Hugo unleashed his hounds to hunt down the remaining 6 missing pages. When he learned the pages were scattered among the 7 other great clans, Hugo nearly declared open war, sending the hounds against anyone who dared resist. After countless hounds were sacrificed in the hunt, they finally managed to deliver every last page to Hugo. And the reward Vikir received for all of that bloodshed was a single dismissive good job. What a stupid, wasted life that was. Thanks to those pages, Hugo broke through the wall of the 7th Fong and climbed to the 9th, using the blood and corpses of the hounds beneath him as nothing but fodder. But that, Vikir vows, will never happen in this life. The hound who fetched every one of those lost pages was him. He remembers the contents of all of them by heart. The only reason he could never climb past the 4th Fong was that he never once got to see the original source text. Now, reading it last, it all clicks. Most people would dismiss this book as lowly nonsense stuffed with lofty gibberish. But the instant the torn-out pages are slotted back into their rightful place, the pretentious fabrications transform into a puzzle that paints one epic masterpiece. Before his regression, Vikir reached the 4th Fong and the rank of high-ranking sword graduate in Aura. He swears to himself he'll become that strong again before he even turns 15. He loses himself completely in the book. Did I really focus the entire day? But thanks to that obsession, he has memorized every word, enough to recite the whole thing backwards. He goes still, sensing the air. The guardian knights are gone. He can't feel their presence anywhere nearby. He may be unable to draw all 10 fangs in the body of a child, but right now he might just reach the 5th Fong, the very wall he could never break in his past life. He draws his stance and unleashes it. Baskerville 1st Fong, 2nd Fong, 3rd Fong, 4th Fong. The crimson aura blazes one after another, faster and cleaner than it ever did before. Before regressing, he lived a shabby, humiliating life. He clawed his way to the highest-ranking graduate aura through sheer hard work. Yet the main house always looked down on him for being unable to learn a swordsmanship worthy of it. The one and only reason he could never reach the 5th Fong was that he was an illegitimate child, as if he'd ever live such a life over again. And then it happens. It's a little rough, a little lacking, but he manages it. Vikir draws the 5th Fong. A warm feeling surges up from his heart, almost choking him. Vikir wants to weep tears of joy at finally crossing the wall of the 5th Fong. In the entire history of Baskerville, no young hound's fangs had ever grown this fast, and every one of them was already aimed straight at his master's throat. Deep in his training, Vikir succeeds in drawing the 5th Fong. If he can just boost his mana now, he thinks he'll finally reach the level he was at before he regressed. His mana hole is growing steadily too. Through this latest enlightenment, it has expanded by a whole dimension. A flowing, liquid aura begins to seep from him, the unmistakable mark of a graduate. He has leveled up from high-ranking sword expert all the way to low-ranking graduate. It's a level he only reached at age 30 in his past life. And now he stands there having claimed it at just 8 years old. A sword graduate is on a completely different plane than a mere expert. As his gaseous aura hardens into liquid form, its density climbs and its power to change shape grows almost limitless. He has also obtained a swordsmanship greater than anything he wielded before regressing, one that doesn't stop at the 5th form but can reach all the way to the 10th form. A sword art with infinite potential. Compared to the stabbing canine he learned before, which had hard limits on its growth, this new art, the lurking embedded teeth, fuses offense and defense perfectly and has no ceiling at all. If he just puts his mind to it, Vikir figures he could take on a medium-ranking graduate. 100% chance of success if it's an assassination, 50% in a frontal assault. The real problem is how much he should reveal to Swordmaster Hugo. He decides to plant just enough expectation in the old man, so he can keep draining benefits out of him. Then, coldly, Vikir makes his move against Hugo's future. With this, he thinks the chance of Hugo and his hunting dogs ever reaching the 10th tooth is gone for good. Everyone except him, that is. Suddenly, a servant recoils in horror. "What is this smell?" he cries. "Young Master Vikir, what did you do?" Vikir apologizes smoothly, saying he was careless and burned the book by leaving a magnifying glass sitting on it. If it needs reporting, he offers, he'll go tell the butler himself. But the flustered servant insists it's nothing the young master should apologize for. "It's our fault for not caring for you enough," the man says. More than anything, he's just relieved it was only some random books that got burned. "Yeah, they were all miscellaneous," Vikir agrees. "Aren't the knights busy with the Morg clan over the ruby mine? You shouldn't waste attention on a little thing like this." The servants decide it's best to treat it like it never happened. If the young master can look past it, then so can they. Vikir thanks them for their time and suggests they keep it a quiet secret between them. "Yes, young master," they eagerly agree. As he walks off, the servants murmur among themselves. "Young Master Vikir, he's a good person," one says. To even consider his servants' feelings, what a respectable young man. Later, before his father the clan head, the interrogation begins. "And so, did you have an enlightenment inside the library?" "A little bit," Vikir answers modestly. His father lets out an intrigued chuckle. "What exactly did you feel in there?" the man presses. "Something warm and sharp," Vikir muses, "and yet also soft and wave-like. That's the sensation he felt." His father goes silent, then asks carefully, "Could it be aura, perhaps?" "Oha," the proof that one has truly stepped into the world of the sword. Even relentless prodigies had to be at least 15 years old to enter the realm of low-ranking sword expert. "What am I even thinking?" his father tells himself. He's only an 8-year-old child. Still, he can't help asking, "Could you show your father what that is?" "Of course," Vikir replies. The butler asks the clan head how he plans to test the young master's skill. "I'll send in a suitable demonic beast for him," the man answers. "A demonic beast," the butler repeats, uneasy. "That's right," the clan head says. "And he starved this one to make it a little more sensitive and vicious." The beast is dragged out, and it's an orc. "Isn't this too much for an 8-year-old? Someone protests. "You need to be at least 15 just to stand a chance against one." The clan head shrugs it off. "Well, if something happens, he's sure the guardian knights will step in." The starved orc lunges, but something is wrong. It suddenly shrieks in shock and pain. The monster howls as its own body betrays it, blood pouring out where none should. Did it just panic at feeling itself bleed for the first time? Vikir wonders. Otherwise, the orc's signature rapid regeneration would have kicked in by now. There's no way a lowly C-rank demonic beast could stop a B+ rank curse like the Hellhound's hemorrhage. The skill hemorrhage tears through its flesh unchecked. The watching knights are stunned. That's an 8-year-old? How did he do that with just his body, without even using mana? Vikir reads his father's face. The man is saying he still hasn't shown what he unlocked in the library. Then, Vikir decides he'll show it to him just as he wishes. He raises his blade, and the onlookers gasp. That's an aura blade. The orc is finished, torn apart before it can even regenerate. "That's a low-rank sword expert's aura," the butler breathes. "Congratulations, clan head. The genius of the generation has appeared." His father only mutters, "Is that really what you think? Among all the clans of the empire, there will never be a genius like this," the butler gushes. Stop right there, butler, the clan head cuts in. Looking closer, the orc was a little odd, his father says. The specialty of orcs is their incredible regeneration, yet this one never healed at all. He tells himself the boy only won because the orc had been badly weakened. Even now, his father can't be honest with himself and simply feel proud. Then Vikir speaks up. Wait, father, is there anything stronger than the orc? Vikir asks. The demonic beast codex lists species after species far above it, and he wants a real opponent. The whole hall freezes. The 8-year-old bastard son isn't satisfied. He's asking for something deadlier, leaving his father and the knights utterly speechless. Wait, father, Vikir cuts in. The orc they hauled back from far-off lands simply isn't enough anymore. Behind the calm face, Vikir is calculating. It's better to reveal a sufficient amount of my strength. He decides, no more, no less. If he's lucky, his achievement will be recognized, and he'll finally have a chance to separate himself from Swordmaster Hugo. He could be dispatched into the wild, he thinks, or enroll in the academy. Anything to slip the clan's leash. His father agrees. It looks like the orc they captured isn't enough to satiate his son's hunger, and the boy is at an age where he needs real combat. What Vikir said makes sense. The clan head turns to his butler. Isn't there still a specimen left from the barbarian subjugation they captured to experiment on? Yes, the butler answers. Exactly one remains. It's likely to be very sensitive, the butler warns, since it hasn't been fed in some time. Bring it here, the clan head orders. When the cage doors open, Vikir smiles at what steps out. It's in a long time, he says. It's a troll, a towering monster whose regenerative flesh knits itself back together almost as fast as it can be cut. Father, may I start right away? Vikir asks. You may, the clan head answers. Begin, comes the command, and the trial is on. The troll lunges, and Vikir slides through the assault, reading every swing before it lands. A watching brother clicks his tongue. The boy had a clean opening and didn't take it. That was an opening, one of them mutters, so why didn't he attack? So close. But the clan head sees it differently. Good decision, he says quietly. The troll's regenerative ability is outstanding, he explains. So if you can't inflict a fatal injury in a single blow, you'll only be wasting your energy. That's why strategy is required, he adds, if you truly want to hunt a troll. The onlookers are stunned. He's narrowly dodging every attack. Is he trying to tire the troll out? Is an 8-year-old really making such a judgment? Is this what a real genius looks like? Inside his own head, Vikir is bored. It's really slow, so I'm not feeling very pressured, he thinks, but I need to keep up the act. He could easily kill something like a troll if he revealed his true strength, but that would complicate everything. He needs to kill it as naturally as possible. A good method, he decides, would be to turn the troll's own strength against it the moment it charges. The troll rushes in, and Vikir lets it come, blade already moving to meet the charge. The troll gets slashed clean, but the watchers know the problem. It'll just recover right away from anything that doesn't kill it instantly. As Vikir expected, it may be impossible to kill a troll using only the Baskerville swordsmanship's first fawn. Still, it's impressive that an 8-year-old has done this much. It's true, he thinks, that the first fawn can't cut through the troll's thick hide. If he used Beelzebub's hemorrhage ability, the troll would bleed out if he simply waited, but that would be meaningless here. You may stop now, the clan head calls. It could be dangerous if you continued. But Vikir answers back, I've nearly got it. I think I'll be able to realize something if I fight a bit longer. He insists and presses on. He sets himself a rule. If I cannot finish it with my next attack, I will abandon the fight. Continue, the clan head allows, and Vikir readies the final exchange. How much power should I reveal? He asks himself. The answer to that was already set. He wants to stage a scenario where it looks like he received enlightenment mid-combat and awakened to the next level. Right on cue. And most of all, he's looking forward to how Hugo will react after seeing this. He gathers himself, blade rising, and unleashes the strike he's been holding back this entire fight. The whole hall freezes. The troll is finished in a single clean stroke. Within the Baskerville clan of Blood and Iron, a person's worth is measured by a strict formula. Around age 15 is when one can imbue mana into a sword and exude an aura, and at that point most of the family's hunting dogs learn the first fong of Baskerville swordsmanship. But for the first time in Baskerville clan history, Something unheard of had just happened. The second Fong, which his brothers only reach at age 18, was achieved by an 8-year-old. An irregular had been born. Vikir plays it up, panting through a laugh. Ha! He breathes, ended up winning. The gathered clan can only stare. What do we just see? 1 week later, the fallout has fully set in. At the table, Vikir grimaces at his bowl. No matter how much of it I eat, he complains, I can't get used to this random meat stew. He notices the others keeping their distance since that day. Well, he shrugs, I guess it's natural in Baskerville, where strength is everything. Seeing Hugo left flustered was quite a sight. Meanwhile, a servant scrambles, shouting that young Master Vikir has already returned to his room. Clan head. Clan head. Vikir tallies the numbers privately. The power he's revealed to the public is Baskerville's second Fong, the strength of a medium-ranking sword expert. His true strength, though, is a mere Baskerville fifth Fong, roughly the level of a low-ranking graduate. And if he counts the troll's skill he just devoured, he's probably stronger than a regular graduate now. The ultra-registration troll logged as another entry in his growing arsenal. My appetite definitely increased after getting Beelzebub, he notes. Then a nervous voice interrupts him. Ashe, it's the other young clansmen. What are these bastards up to? Vikir wonders, instantly wary. Did I go too easy on you back then? He asks flatly. And no, not that. They stammer. They blurted out. They wanted to tell him that how he killed Cerberus and the troll was cool. Vikir just blinks. Suddenly they're fussing over him. Are you okay? You okay? They crowd, leaving him utterly baffled. What? He thinks. Are they trying to play both sides? Or are they trying to trick me? Getting goosebumps doesn't feel that good, he mutters. Maybe I'll just punch them first and think later. Before he can, a new voice cuts in. Young Master Vikir. He turns, startled. B. Butler Barrymore? The butler delivers the summons. You'll need to quickly go visit the clan head. The annual joint event between the two great clans is beginning again, and an old acquaintance greets the Baskervilles. It's been a while, he says. He notes that Sir Hugo, the Baskerville clan head, is as intimidating as ever. He is Adolph Morg, the agent standing in for the Morg clan head. The elders make small talk, hoping this year's event ends without trouble. Someone recalls that last year people from both clans were severely injured, but a Baskerville scoffs that if a mere scratch counts as severe, then what would a real issue even look like? A Morg member fires back that they're simply prestigious and classy, so of course their standards are higher. On one side stands the Morg clan, the prestigious magic clan. On the other stands the Baskervilles, the swordsman clan of blood and iron. But these two clans didn't always clash. Their rivalry has a history. 2 emperors ago, the ruler declared that magic and swords are complementary existences, meant to strengthen one another. From those words, the Baskerville and Morg clans began holding joint training, open only to children between the ages of 8 and 15. For a time, the annual event carried a very good atmosphere. But at some point conflict emerged. A ruby mine sat in the territory between the Baskervilles and the Morgs, and a dispute over its ownership soured relations between the two clan heads. Still, by the Emperor's orders, the joint training had to continue. So this year, someone other than the Morg clan head has come in their place. Word spreads that a rising star has appeared among the Baskervilles. They praise the boy as a genius who might appear once in 100 years, a great fortune for the Empire. Sir Hugo coolly replies that it isn't something worth touting so highly. Adolf counters that this is a double fortune, because a genius has appeared in the Morg clan too. He calls his young charge forward to give her greetings. She is the daughter of his elder sister, the true Morg clan head. Her name is Camus. Adolf prompts her to greet the Baskerville clan head properly. The little girl stays silent. Then Camus points straight at Sir Hugo and asks if he's the thief who stole away their ruby mine. Return it to us, she demands, that ruby mine. Thief. The word hangs in the air as the Baskervilles bristle. Adolf sputters, demanding to know what she's suddenly saying. But Camus calmly replies that this is exactly what he told her, that the pathetic bearded man stole their ruby mine like a thief. A pathetic beard like a thief? Sir Hugo repeats the insult slowly, his temper rising. Adolf scrambles to smooth it over, calling it a misunderstanding. Sir Hugo waves him off, saying there's no need to make excuses about the Morg clan's education policies to him. Camus keeps going, wailing that she can't even conduct a research because they're short on rubies, and demanding hers be returned. A horrified Adolf hisses her name. Sir Hugo raises a hand and tells her to stop. He remarks that the Moor clan clearly doesn't teach its children manners. Adolf snaps back, asking what he's saying to a mere child, and wondering aloud whether the Empire's sword saint really means to oppress an 8-year-old girl. Unfazed, Sir Hugo replies that apparently the Moor clan also fails to teach its children not to covet what belongs to others. Just then a knight arrives, announcing that he has escorted the young master, Vikir, to the clan head. Camus looks him over and asks if this kid is the rising star of the Baskervilles. Vikir turns on her sharply and asks what she just said, but hearing her name stops the adults cold. Camus, they whisper in disbelief. No way. For Vikir, the shock runs even deeper. This bratty little girl is the Morg clan's future steel-blooded empress, Camus Morg, as a child. Even among the countless archmages the prestigious magic clan produced, Camus would one day be called the genius of all geniuses. In the future, she personally subdues the monsters and barbarians of the mountain of Le Rouge et Le Noir, burning them into ash and blood to forge the imperial borders. Her beauty enraptures high society itself, letting her manipulate the Imperials so completely that she earns the title Avatar of Authority. But that's a story from far in the future. Right now, she's just an 8-year-old shrieking about why the ruby mine isn't hers. Vikir tells her she must have worked hard, traveling all this way just to throw a tantrum. Camus freezes. Did he just say a tantrum? Yeah, Vikir confirms, you're throwing a tantrum right now. Then he offers to teach her why the ruby mine belongs to the Morgs, in a way simple enough for her dog's-hit brain to understand. Watching from the sidelines, Sir Hugo can't help but find the exchange amusing. Camus takes the bait and declares she'll make it so even someone as ignorant as him can understand. She conjures a detailed model out of ice. Vikir mutters that he'd assumed they'd be fighting, not sitting through a lecture. She explains the border between the two clans, the so-called joint security area, where a mine produces high-quality rubies. The catch is that the mine's entrance sits on Moor territory at the surface, while the veins underground run beneath Baskerville land. Because of that structure, she argues, the Baskervilles can't extract the rubies on their own, which means the mine should belong to the Moor clan. She complains that instead the Baskervilles accuse the Morgs of trespassing, interfere with the mining, and even reject their offer to pay a lease for the land. A delighted Adolf marvels at how clever his little niece is with her words. Vikir concedes that rubies are indeed a common magical ingredient, and that the Baskervilles have no real need for the ones being mined. Right, he says, leading her on. Then he twists the knife, saying the real tragedy is that no one in the Baskerville clan is idiotic enough to lease out their territory just for chump change. A lease? Camus stammers, thrown off balance. He reminds her that by her own admission, the Baskervilles have no interest in rubies, only in the territory, and that's exactly why they're telling the Morgs not to enter. After all, he points out, the only ones upset about the rubies are her side. Fine, Camus snaps. She'll prove in an even more certain way why the rubies belong to them. She draws a line, declaring one side her land and pushing her argument to its literal extreme. Then she reaches across the boundary and asks whose arm this is now. Vikir plays along, musing that since her arm has crossed into his territory, the answer should be obvious. Obviously, he tells her, yours is now mine. Camus panics, demanding to know why her arm would suddenly be his and calling him silly. Then Vikir tilts his head and asks whoever said that she was his. Huh? Camus blinks. He feigns innocence, saying he has no idea what she's talking about. He's only saying, he clarifies, that her arm is his, turning her own logic neatly against her. What? Camus gapes, her airtight argument collapsing in her hands as Vikir wins the whole exchange. Vikir stands over a terrified Moor child, his voice ice-cold as he tells her that her arm now belongs to him. The girl can only stammer out a single word. What? Then she breaks, screaming for her uncle to save her as the fear finally swallows her whole. Brant, one of the Morg elders, comes charging in at the sound of his niece's cry. He plants himself between them and orders Vikir to step away from his niece, right now. The little girl wails that Vikir threatened to take her arm, and the whole hall turns cold with confusion over what just happened. A Baskerville representative tries to smooth it over, insisting Vikir's joke simply went a bit too far, and Vikir flatly offers his apology. He holds up a toy, playing it off as harmless, while the morgue side sees at why such a cruel little plaything even exists. Vikir claims he never meant to make her cry, explaining that Baskerville children play with toys like these before they even turn one. The Moore clan head's representative fumes that no one should be this overbearing over a joke between children. The Baskerville rep pivots smoothly, hinting he already has a plan for the Ruby Mine dispute that the Moore clan will love, and urges everyone to hurry up and finish the friendly competition. But the humiliated girl glares at Vikir and swears she will never forgive him, that he won't get away with this. Vikir only laughs it off, completely unbothered by the threat. And so the friendly competition between the Baskerville clan and the Morgue clan officially begins. Children aged 8 to 15 gather in one place to test each other's skill. Where the 8-year-olds compete on mana sensitivity and theory, it's the practical spars between the 15-year-olds that draw all the eyes. This year, however, the attention is pulled somewhere else entirely. Representing the prestigious magician bloodline of the Morgue clan, Camus Morgue steps forward. And for the swordsman clan of blood and iron, the Baskervilles, it is Vikir van Baskerville. Following the Moore clan's own proposal, they adopt real, practical battle rules for a spar between the two rising stars of each house. Camus warns Vikir to be prepared, boasting that she never goes easy in a real fight. Then she unleashes her opening move, and the crowd gasps in disbelief. Quadruple castings for spells woven at once. Onlookers marvel that she cast 4 spells, even 15-year-olds struggle with all at the same time. Exactly what you'd expect from the Moore clan's genius magician. Camus lets the magic fly with a battle cry, certain her opponent can't possibly keep up. But Vikir just calmly critiques her, saying it's flashy, yet she'd be better off focusing on each spell one at a time. Furious, she snaps at a worm who knows nothing about magic has no right to lecture her. She hurls up a sand wall to shield herself. Vikir strolls straight through the shattered barrier, remarking that calling him a worm was a bit much. Camus can't believe her sand wall broke so easily, wondering if this is the power of the Baskerville clan's dreaded river Styx. She scolds herself for being careless as he closes the distance in an instant. A single flick lands, and Camus reels back with a strangled gasp. A forehead flick. She's stunned, demanding to know if he's actually going easy on her as an opponent. As she vows she won't let him get away with it, Vikir notes that his little flick clearly still stings, and suggests she'd be smart to end it here with his victory before things get worse. Refusing to yield, Camus casts Sandwall, double, stacking the barrier twice as thick. She crows that this two-fold wall can't possibly be broken, but Vikir just wonders aloud whether it's pointless if he simply walks around it. With a shrug, he decides he'll play with her a little longer. A hand punches clean through the wall, and Camus shrieks in terror. Vikir asks her a question. The hand that broke through the wall, who does she think it belongs to? What? She blurts. The answer, he tells her, is simple. The stronger one. Camus groans, battered and cornered, refusing to accept the gap between them. She screams that she'll kill him and lunges wildly. Vikir had thought hurting her a little would make her give up. Instead, she only grows more reckless, and he sighs that children really are difficult to handle. He knows he could kill her in the blink of an eye if he wanted, but doing so would cause a massive uproar. So he coolly weighs how to calm her down, deciding the cleanest way to handle a situation like this is to use someone else. Camus rages that she'll cut down all his magic, while Vikir mocks the whole thing as a battle between a magician wasting fire spells and an idiot swordsman hacking at them at random. Baffled that nothing lands, she screams to know why he won't get hit. She howls at him to stop running and fight her head on. Then she loads up one last massive spell and dares him to cut through this one too, telling him to come at her. But Vikir simply calls out her name, Camus Morgue, and calmly advises her to prepare a protection spell instead. Confused, she barely manages a startled huh. Then realization crashes over her, and she screams no as her own magic turns against her. In the aftermath, she's left dazed and defeated, unable to even grasp what he did to her, as Vikir walks away the clear victor. The crowd erupts in disbelief as Camus, the young daughter of the Moore clan, is left reeling. How can this be? They gasp. No, Lord Camus is... Someone cries out her name in horror. See Camus. Down in the smoke, Camus is frantic. What do I do, she thinks. She managed to block the worst of the damage with protection magic. But the fire magic has burned away all her clothes, leaving her exposed. The smoke is still covering her, so no one can see her yet. But she knows the moment it fades and the crowd gets a look, she'll be humiliated in front of everyone. The shame will follow her forever. Desperate, she whispers a plea to anyone. Please, someone help me. And then a shadow steps into the smoke. It's Vikir. Why you are, she stammers, as he tells her to at least wear this. He drapes his own shirt over her. Why are you being nice to your enemy? She demands, flustered. Vikir says he'll take it back if she doesn't want it. That's not it. She blurts, now you're shirtless. Vikir just shrugs that he doesn't care about something like that, leaving Kemu utterly bewildered. Then she notices the blood. Hey, you're bleeding from your arm. Vikir is more surprised than she is that a mere scratch got through a body strengthened by sticks. He wonders if that idiot knight's shattered sword still had some aura clinging to the fragment. But Kemu only sags with relief that he's all right. What a relief, she breathes, staring at him. The watching nobles are baffled by the outcome. The Moor daughter is on the ground, but young Vikir Baskerville is the one bleeding, so no one can tell who actually won. What they can agree on is that he's remarkably well built for someone so young, likely thanks to the blessing of the river Styx. Looking at those muscles, they murmur, he must be training diligently too. An incredible amount of talent. They marvel for a boy only 8 years old. Later, Vikir is called in for a debrief. And so, he's asked, how was your duel against the young daughter of the Moor clan? It was enjoyable, Vikir answers. He got to understand something all over again, that a duel against a magician is quite different from one against a swordsman. Why didn't you make a proper attack? He's pressed. Vikir admits he hesitated a little, since he'd never fought against a girl before. Hesitation in battle leads to injury, comes the reply. Take that wound as a lesson. Vikir is caught off guard. Is Hugo actually worrying about me? He wonders. He barely remembers what Hugo was like in his childhood. Only a cold, strict, and brutal presence. There is always a rumor about why his personality turned so vicious. It was said Hugo lost his first wife and his eldest daughter in a bitter, terrible way. Hugo brushes it off, saying not that he'd know, and changes the subject. What do you think of the ruby mine, he asks. I think it'll be better to just give it to them, Vikir says. Abandon the right to mine the ruby veins, Hugo challenges. What is your reason? Vikir lays it out. The task of the Baskerville clan is to develop the wields and widen the border. The Red Fong Mountain, where the ruby veins flow, sits downstream, and the demonic creatures and barbarian clans there are the real problem. So if they use the Moor clan well, they can minimize the damage they take developing that land. That's the correct answer, Hugo notes. Once Morg secures the mining rights, they'll station a large force at the site, which means Vikir just needs to steer the demonic creatures and barbarians toward them. That way, they can deal with all their troublesome problems in one convenient place. When it all comes together, the ruby mine will be paid for in Moor blood, and even the clan head of Moor will regret ever setting foot in Baskerville territory. Your strategy matched 90% of my plan, Hugo says. Naturally, Vikir replies, since it was Hugo's own plan to begin with, and he was merely the one tasked with carrying it out. Vikir adds they should stay vigilant watching Morg's movements. No need to worry, Hugo assures him. The number of hunting dogs sent to infiltrate them has steadily grown. The scene shifts. A representative greets the arriving figure. You're here, clan head. Before you return, could we have a conversation? The Morg side asks. Representative of the Morg clan head. Do you have something to say? They do. They answer, just one important matter to discuss. In truth, they explain, Morg has thought hard about how to resolve the ruby mine problem as amicably as possible. The territory rent is only one item on the agenda. Then what is it? Hugo presses. What will I gain by opening my territory? The answer lands like a bombshell. How about a betrothal? Betrothal, Hugo repeats. Yes, they propose to bind Morg and Baskerville through a boy and a girl. Which two are you thinking of linking? Hugo asks. How about the eldest son of Baskerville and my niece, the eldest daughter of Morg? From her looks to her intelligence, they boast she lacks nothing. As her uncle, he may be biased, but she's an incredible child, sure to be a great partner for the successor of the Baskerville clan, the boy they call the small son. Hugo raises a problem. My eldest son is 25 this year. The difference in age is quite large. 8 and 25, the representative counters. Isn't that only a 17-year difference? That much is manageable. Then a cold voice cuts in. I will not marry someone who is weaker than my mother, Camus declares. Her uncle panics. Camus, if you want to marry someone stronger than your mother, you'll stay unmarried the rest of your life. I'm looking at their potential, she says flatly. And I hate having a big age gap like that, she adds. I want someone my age or younger. Child, her uncle groans. This is not a buffet. I know, Camus replies. I also don't have a habit of eating whatever I'm given. Her uncle scrambles to shut the idea down. You can't, you fool, he snaps. He's not a full-blood. He's an illegitimate half-son. A half-breed dragon is still only a half-breed. But the words only sharpen Camus' interest. His words engage me, she thinks. After all, Hugo says, isn't the wish of the individual what matters most in a betrothal? Son, what do you think? Camus steadies herself. She begins, this is what I think. Whatever she says next lands like a slap. What someone shouts. This brat, her uncle seethes. The negotiation ends on that jaw-dropping note, thanking them for sharing such a thing, and setting the stage for what comes next. The clan is discussing a betrothal, and Hugo turns to his son to ask what he thinks of the arrangement. When Vikir flatly answers that he will do it if he's ordered to, the room recoils. What did this brat just say? The girl in question is scandalized that a bastard would be so insolent toward a daughter of the direct lineage. Then a hopeful thought creeps in. Wait, does that mean he doesn't dislike me? Hugo cuts in, declaring that direct and side lineage mean nothing in the Baskerville clan. Sometimes the main line produces inferior children, and the branch line produces superior ones. The girl watches, stunned that the head of the clan would speak so highly of Vikir. Is he really that talented? Enter Adolf Morg, an extremely powerful man from the upper echelons of the prestigious Morg magic clan, a sixth circle master. He's also infamous as a shamelessly doting uncle to his niece. Adolf leans down to Vikir. He isn't trying to be harsh, he says, but simply being somewhat talented is nowhere near good enough to become his niece's husband. Vikir answers coolly that the arranged marriage was the clan's proposal, not his idea. Personally, he doesn't even find the legitimate Baskerville children worthy enough. Adolf is thrown by how unshakable the boy is. Why isn't he answering? He demands. Is he even listening? Vikir replies that he stopped listening the moment Adolf claimed he wasn't really speaking to him. The magician is speechless. The niece can't believe it. How can he talk so boldly right in front of Uncle? Adolf only smirks. Adolf asks Hugo for the chance to have a deep talk with the child. Is the great magician of the Empire really planning to bully an 8-year-old? Hugo muses, over a boy who might one day become his niece's husband? Adolf insists he asks this favor not as a representative of the Moore clan, but simply as a girl's uncle. His niece protests that it isn't like that at all. He hushes her gently. Stay quiet, my dear niece. Sometimes, things like this are simply in order. So what does Sir Baskerville say? Hugo pauses, then relents. If you insist. And, just like that, the terms are set for a duel. Adolf tells Vikir to hold nothing back. Show me everything you've got, child of Baskerville. Vikir agrees, then thinks to himself that the magician would faint if he truly showed everything. So Adolf says, allow me to give you a handicap. He announces he will duel with a full jar of water balanced on top of his head. If Vikir can make him spill even a single drop, the victory is his. Vikir stays silent, thinking, Adolf Morg is a man he couldn't even dream of approaching before his regression. This is a rare opportunity, a chance to experience a fraction of the great magician's power firsthand. He's certain Hugo allowed this fight, thinking the very same thing. Now come at me, Adolf says. Vikir weighs the question in his head. What would his odds be against this man at his full pre-regression strength? Assassination by ambush, maybe 50%. A head-on fight, closer to 10. But there's no need to go all out here. He only needs to show enough to satisfy Hugo. Vikir charges straight in, and the crowd gasps. You can't run head-on into Uncle. The niece cries in alarm. Adolf wonders why she'd warn his opponent, then raises a shield of magic. Magic, he notes, is the best possible answer to a swordsman. This shield should be nearly impossible to pierce without exceptional aura. Vikir clicks his tongue. The niece objects that this is too much. Uncle never used such magic, even when sparring against her. Adolf asks whose side she's even on. You bastard, Adolf snarls, I won't forgive you. But he notes the boy is attacking at a speed just barely dodgeable, so he won't have to intervene. Let's see what the young hound can do against a great magician. Vikir schemes. If he leans into the fact that he looks like a harmless 8-year-old, then couples it with his pre-regression experience, he can bait Adolf into dropping his guard. He might even be able to kill him. Adolf sneers that it won't change no matter how many hundreds of times he tries. Your sword cannot break through my shield. Then he notices something. Has the boy been striking the exact same spot over and over? He's like a precisely calibrated machine. His focus and swordsmanship, Adolf admits, truly deserve recognition. However, the magician thinks that isn't nearly enough. This is no different than trying to break a stone wall by throwing eggs. He lectures. You should have accounted for the durability of my shield against your sword. There's merit in being bull-stubborn and forcing things through, but you must consider your opponent carefully before using such tactics. You have talent, Adolf concludes, but you're still far too lacking to be betrothed to my niece. Then he freezes. Huh? What? A piece of his shattered sword has broken through. The fragment strikes the jar. I believe that's enough, Vikir says calmly. We don't need to spill more water out for you. The niece is beside herself. It has to be a coincidence, but he actually beat Uncle. Does that mean marriage? Adolf isn't buying it. A coincidence? The broken piece just happened to conveniently hit the jar? Watching from the side, Hugo studies the boy. Vikir van Baskerville. He may be raising a far more cunning hunting dog than he ever imagined. 7 years have passed since Vikir's regression, and we drop into the Baskerville training facility where the clan forges its next generation of swordsmen. A caged beast lets out a low, rumbling growl as the young masters circle it, blades drawn. An instructor drills the lesson into them. When you're forced to face a stronger opponent, the smart move is to run, not to get greedy for their vitals. Slowing them by aiming for the backs of their legs is far more effective. The trainees push in, and the beast reels back. The instructor is impressed. As expected from the young masters, their auras have turned a ripe, dark red color, exactly as they should be. When it is over, he calls it. Everyone, you have done well. With this, he declares, every young master has reached low-ranking sword expert and fully learned the first fong of Baskerville swordsmanship. As of this moment, their 7-year training is complete, but he warns them not to get comfortable. Unlike this beast that was neglected in a cage, the wild ones out on Mt. Rouge et Le Noir are far stronger. Even he admits, cannot handle a strong, aged beast of that kind. He tells them to remember that what they face today pales next to the real world, where death is always closer than they think. Overcome it with their talented blood, he says, or build up experience to survive at all costs. That is it, he finishes. He congratulates them on their graduation and wishes them fortune in battle. Afterward, the graduates compare notes on which knight order they applied to. One lists Doberman, Pitbull, and Rottweiler as his choices, while another says he wants the Wolfhound Knights, and they realize they have nothing in common. There are 7 knight orders within the Baskerville clan, each built with a different objective in mind, from guarding and investigating to protecting, suppressing, and direct confrontation. Then one asks where he thinks he will go. Who? The other replies. He means, obviously, Vikir van Baskerville. The rumors about Vikir are staggering. He killed a beast bigger than there's entirely on his own, and word is he has become a high-ranking sword expert who has reached the 3rd fong, putting him on the same level as the clan's elite guide dogs. Elsewhere, Vikir reflects that it took longer than he planned. In truth, he is now a medium-ranking sword graduate at the 5th fong, but climbing from low rank to medium rank took a full 7 years. On pure swordsmanship, he has already surpassed where he stood before his regression. Still, his growth is slower than he hoped, and his brooding is cut short when Barrymore arrives to tell him the clan head is looking for him. It seems, the retainer notes, that Vikir's post has finally been decided. Vikir simply answers that he understands. He comes before the clan head. It has been a long time, he says. Have you been well, clan head? Hugo notices something. What is that scar on your nose? He asks. Vikir explains that while facing the barbarian tribe on Mt. Rouge et Le Noir, he was attacked. He was struck by a barbarian skilled with the bow. Did you catch them? Hugo asks. Vikir did not, but he says he managed to scar that enemy's face in the very same manner. Hugo congratulates him on finishing his education, but warns that things will only get more difficult from here. Vikir wonders if his father is finally about to reveal his post. Vikir remembers how this went last time. In his previous life, he became an apprentice knight for the Pitbull Knights and was sent to Mt. Rouge et Lenoir for 21 months of life-or-death combat, thrown into real battles like a useless tool meant to be discarded. He explains the clan's cruel divide. At 15, Baskerville children are split into elites and expendables. The expendables die in battle while the elites learn politics and administration, and only after countless real battles do the survivors get to assist the elites. What closes the gap between the elites and the battle-hardened expendables is the fifth Fong of Baskerville swordsmanship, which is exactly why his own blade stalled at the fourth Fong in his previous life. So he braces himself. Certain Hugo would never let an illegitimate child like him take the elite course. But Hugo stuns him. "I want you to try being a congressman," he says. The role administers legislation and justice within Baskerville territory, attracts business, and handles the clan's desk work. In short, Vikir would be in charge of both the big and small affairs of the clan. He can hardly believe it. Hugo is letting an illegitimate child become an elite? Hugo explains that Vikir's achievements put him at least a decade ahead of the other so-called geniuses, so he is giving him fitting treatment. Vikir will become the vice-consul of a city called Underdog, where both the consul and vice-consul seats are currently open. "Will you accept?" Hugo asks. Vikir says he will follow his will, but first he wishes to raise something. It is about the Ruby Mine incident with the Moore clan, and how Vikir got one over on Adolf Morg. Hugo recalls he promised a reward back then and asks if Vikir is cashing it in now. Vikir confirms it and makes a request that visibly jolts the clan head. If it is too difficult a request, Vikir adds, Hugo does not need to grant it. But Hugo answers that it is not difficult at all. He grants it, trusting that Vikir will not do anything ridiculous. "Son," Hugo calls him. Vikir promises he will do nothing to cause worry, though inwardly he admits he still cannot get used to this man calling him son. Hugo has agreed to grant his request, something Vikir says he could never have imagined happening in his previous life. Afterward, a retainer tells him the clan head clearly treasures him. He could tell, he says, because Hugo did not throw Vikir straight into real battles and practically handed him a consul seat. It is essentially a lesson meant for future rulers, proof of how greatly he is valued. That only holds, Vikir replies, if he can actually fulfill his duties as vice-consul well. Privately, he sees the real prize. If he uses his new authority as vice-consul wisely, he can grow his own strength far more safely. He does not care about the work itself at all. None of this, he reminds himself, makes his memories go away. He still remembers the exact feeling of his head being chopped off at the guillotine, and he vows to make one man feel that same thing. Hugo de Baskerville. In the Baskerville territory of Underdog, the office staff scramble to clean the place spotless. The new vice-consul arrives tomorrow. One of them says, so make sure everything is perfect. He's coming straight from the main castle. Another warns, so pay special attention. The workers nod nervously. They whisper among themselves about what kind of man the new vice-consul will be. I just hope he's someone experienced in business, one sighs. Then another cuts in. What? Didn't you hear? The rumor lands like a stone. I heard he's only 15 years old. 15. The whole room deflates. What can you expect from a 15-year-old? Then we're screwed this time too. Just then a young stranger walks straight into the office. Who's this kid? Someone snaps. Did another employee bring him? Hey, this isn't somewhere you can just come into without permission. The boy's voice turns cold as steel. Let go of that hand, he orders. Immediately, the staff freeze. This is... Recognition dawns far too late. They stammer out apologies. I see you've arrived early, vice-consul, one says while inwardly panicking. Why the hell did you have to come a day early? And then the young Vikir gives his first order. Prepare some alcohol and women immediately, he says, only to throw a party. The room goes silent with dread. A party? The staff can hardly believe their ears. Meet Chihuahua Baskerville, the office manager of Underdog, a man now trapped in quite the stomach-churning situation. Chihuahua reels at the news. I can't believe he's having a drinking party on his very first day in the post, he groans. An outrageous person was appointed. They were already having a rough time, he thinks, after the previous consul was dismissed for taking bribes. And now a drinking party at their sacred workplace. How much of a wreck is that little bastard, someone fumes. I bet the whole city will be ruined before he comes to his senses. That night, Vikir appears out of nowhere at the manager's side. Are you the office manager? He asks. Chihuahua nearly jumps out of his skin. What did he even get in here? The vice consul. Vikir introduces himself plainly. I am a newly appointed vice consul, Vikir van Baskerville. The manager stammers back his own name, Chihuahua Baskerville. Vikir repeats the name, then notes something. So you don't have a middle name, he says. To Chihuahua, it stings like an old wound. No middle name means you're from outside the clan, not related by blood, just an employee. I can't believe I have to endure this from every bastard who comes here. He thinks bitterly. But Vikir's reaction stops him cold. Wow, the young lord says. I like that. Huh. Chihuahua can only blink, completely thrown. Vikir presses on. I glanced at your personal file before I arrived. He says, you're from this city, aren't you? Why, yes. Born and raised here. Then you must know a great deal about the situation here. I know how hard the people working on the ground put in their effort, Vikir says. I don't plan on interfering with your work, so just keep doing it well. Chihuahua doesn't know what to make of it. Huh. Yes, he manages. Is this some new way of harassing me? Then Vikir gets to work. There are no problems with federal law, he notes, but a few strange points in the judicial system. Why you read all of it? Chihuahua gasps in that short time. The real problem with Underdog, Vikir explains, is the many black market businesses at play, an underground economy that sits above the law. It won't be solved just by shutting down their operations, he says. They'll have to remove the core leaders of that underground market entirely. The vice consul's role is to create laws and enforce them, Vikir says. I have to respect the laws made before me, but I will add a new one to them. You're going to legislate a brand new law? Chihuahua asks, stunned. It'll dry up that underground market within a week, Vikir promises. But to create and enforce a new law, I need a reason. Why need a reason? The manager wonders when they're clearly doing something illegal. I'm young, and I'm still a rookie, only being appointed tomorrow, Vikir admits. To convince them, I'll need a performance. And so, he says with a cold smile, I'll lay out some bait to attract the flies. Chihuahua can only stare. What in the world is he planning? The next day comes. On Underdog's main street, a crowd begins to gather. What is the vice consul planning? One worker asks. He's been standing there since dawn, another replies. How should I know? But look how many people showed up. Vikir raises his voice to the crowd. Listen well, he begins. I am a newly appointed vice consul. The onlookers snicker. He's so young, one says. He's cute. What's a brat like that going to do? I'm sure you all read the public notice here. Vikir goes on. These are the existing laws. Nothing new has been added to them. The crowd jeers. I doubt they'll be kept at all, one scoffs. Those guys in power break more rules than we do. It won't take long before he gives up on the territory. Then Chihuahua steps in to defend him. You idiots, he barks. Did you forget who's in charge of your safety? He's from the Baskerville clan's main castle. Does he need to put a sword to your necks? The manager snaps for you to come back to your senses? The crowd grumbles, but backs down. TCH, if Chihuahua says so, we'll stop, one mutters. Honestly, it'd have been better if Chihuahua were the vice consul. How's a brat like that going to enforce any laws? Then Vikir does something that stops every laugh in the crowd. Huh. Heads turn. And with my authority as vice consul, he announces, I will now proclaim a new special law. Vikir Special Law, Paragraph 1, Article 1. I will give 100 million gold, he declares, to anyone who can remove this post. The crowd erupts. 100 million gold. Wow. They murmur, greed already flickering in their eyes as they stare at the young lord's impossible bounty. Exactly the bait Vikir set out to draw his flies. Vikir plants a decree in the town square. By the Vikir Special Law, whoever pulls out this post will instantly be granted 100 million gold, as guaranteed by Vikir van Baskerville, the vice consul. The crowd can't believe their ears. 100 million gold is worth 4 years of an average person's wages. Who in their right mind gives away that kind of fortune just for yanking a stick out of the ground? Vikir waits, then asks again. No one. Who will take the 100 million? Not a single soul moves. If that's the case, Vikir says, then I have no choice. He amends the law on the spot, revising the decree to a new article. Now the one who pulls out the post will be given 1 billion gold. Still no one steps forward. The townsfolk start grumbling that this is ridiculous. Are you making fun of us? Stop it with the prank and go back inside, one shouts. It's not like 1 billion gold is chicken feed. Strangely, it's the crowd that ends up feeling embarrassed, unable to figure out his game. So, Vikir presses, "You're saying nobody is going to come forward?" Then he revises the law a third time, raising the stakes yet again. The one who pulls out this post will be given 10 billion gold. Nobody? The square falls into stunned silence. What is this situation? Is he really serious? One man whispers that maybe he should try, but the others yank him back. Are you crazy? Who knows what would happen to you? Look at that sword at his waist, someone warns. What if he executes you on the spot for being a money grubber? Others convince themselves the post must be some kind of trap. He's surely got something else in mind, they mutter. Best not to step forward at a time like this. So still no one. Vikir prepares to raise the reward once more as an official finally starts to protest that this kind of money is impossible. Then a small voice cuts through the crowd. May I give it a try? It's Judy, the little flower-selling girl. The townsfolk gasp. What kind of place do you think this is to just walk up like that? My mom is sick, so I have to do something, Judy says. You naive kid, someone hisses, you'll get stabbed stepping up now. Judy only smiles. If that happens, she says quietly, then please take good care of my mom. She braces herself, half expecting the worst. Would he really kill me? Or maybe he'll just make me a laughingstock and toss me a few coins. She hopes she can walk away with at least as much as a single flower basket is worth. Vikir simply tells her to pull it out. Thinking only of her mother, Judy grips the post and heaves. And to everyone's shock, she pulls it out. She actually did it. The crowd can't process it. It came out that easily? No way, they stammer. Judy's face drains white with terror. I'm going to be executed, she thinks. Her mind races through every possible charge as she trembles. If I die, who'll take care of my mom? Mom, I'm sorry. But instead Vikir bows his head. Thank you, he tells her. First, here is your 100 million gold. Take it. Judy can only blink in disbelief. Yes? Where's your house? Vikir asks. 10 billion gold is too heavy to carry, so I'll deliver it to you myself, along with guards to protect your reward. This is what law is like, he tells a stunned crowd. It must be kept. That single act turns the Vikir special law into something more famous than the entire Baskerville clan's own autonomy law. Break the law and punishment follows, but follow the law and reward will be given. That simple idea moves the hearts of the citizens. Have you heard about the new vice-consul? They murmur. He's different, people say. They hear that vice-consul Vikir keeps his word no matter what. It becomes a society of principles. Since the Vikir special law was announced, illegal acts noticeably diminish and the crime rate is cut in half. His office manager is moved to tears. In 20 years on the job, he says, I have never been so touched. I didn't expect such an unconventional performance. Vikir explains his thinking. You can't just get angry at people who distrust and belittle the law. So he schemed how to grab their attention and leave a strong impression. The old manager vows to follow him for the rest of his life, sobbing that every hardship since meeting the vice-consul was worth it. Vikir just tells him to calm down. But Vikir knows the real problem starts now. Since he handed out 10 billion gold as a reward, he'll have to find a way to stitch that hole back up. He lays out a map of every spot where illegal organizations are hiding or will hide in the future. He plans to crack down on these places and confiscate their black money. How did you know where all these illegal businesses were? His aide asks. I can smell it, Vikir says. Of course he knows, since these were the very areas he patrolled and cracked down on relentlessly before he regressed. His staff marvel at how deep he's already dug. He's always on the ball, they think. Then an aide rushes in with news. A request for an interview has come from the Teenage Self-Government Committee of the municipality. As expected, Vikir thinks. So the nobles who only pass wind in the community are asking to see him. It's a group made up of the second and third generations of the Baskerville territory's oldest families. In name, it's a self-government committee, but in reality, it's just an ordinary social club, and its young masters have something to say about the Vikir special law. Vikir smiles. So the flies have started smelling the dung. In that case, he says, shall we start eradicating the pests chewing away at the city in earnest? Deep in the underdog city, past the doors of its most luxurious hotel club, sits a room reserved for the rich and the untouchable. There is a VIP room in the deepest part of the club that costs 10 million gold for just 6 hours. And tonight, inside it, a party is raging. The guests are the core 7 who run the region's Teenage Self-Governing Committee. the pampered children of the 7 native clans within Baskerville territory. Make a tower. One of them shouts, "Bring everything you have. We are partying the night away again." A servant announces the pyramid of Don Quixote Perignon 666 is complete, each bottle worth 100 million gold. The brats tell the servants they can lick up whatever spills onto the table, and the servants grovel their thanks. "My money never decreases no matter how much I spend," one boasts, "and it is all thanks to Baskerville that we get to live like this." They brag that the slave trade keeps growing and the capture of barbarian slaves is going smoothly, all because Baskerville only cares about expanding its borders. With no eyes of the imperial family watching, they call the underdog city a perfect playground, its clubs even more extravagant than the capital's. "Look how safe we are," one sneers. "Doesn't this make the Baskervilles our hunting dogs?" "The Baskervilles are all sword-obsessed morons," another laughs. "Just look at what happened with the Mesmadrano clan." Not knowing they had been framed, Baskerville personally slaughtered the Mesmadrano clan, the most loyal of the 8 clans. Thanks to that, the 8 clans became 7. "That is what they get for getting in the way of our fun," one gloats. By the way, one asks, "Did you hear about the new vice-consul? I have already put in a request for an audience." Apparently, he is an illegitimate van. "His name was Vikir," one says. "Ever heard of him?" "Nope," another shrugs. "First time hearing it. He is only 15, and supposedly threw a big party the moment he arrived. Must be a hell of a bastard," one grins. "I bet we will click. Why don't we tease him a bit and assert our dominance?" one suggests. The plan is cruel and simple. They will throw him a lavish party with the finest wine, then stick him with the bill when it ends. A 15-year-old civil servant could never pay. They laugh, and he will be too scared of scolding to even report it to his clan. Then they will say it was all a joke and pay it themselves, so he can never talk back to them again. Just then a servant bursts in. "Sirs, the girls are here." "You came again, even after all we did," one snaps at a girl. "Send her out. She's dampening the mood." "Hey, you," one calls out. "Come sit over here this time." But the figure he calls to isn't one of the girls. "Who is this?" someone asks. "Did anyone order a male escort?" The servant stammers that the stranger isn't one of their acquaintances at all. "He entered so boldly no one thought it was odd," one recalls. "You brat," another barks. "What do you think this is?" The stranger finally speaks. "The name's Vikir van Baskerville." "By Vikir," one gasps. "You mean the vice-consul? What brings you here?" They scramble. "You guys called for me," Vikir answers flatly. They break into nervous laughter. "Wow, vice-consul, you sure know how to act fast, to think you would come right away." Under their breath, they plot to train the newbie right away, to dump the booze bill on him once the party ends. "Let's cut the side chatter," Vikir says, and lays a hand on the table. For a moment, the whole room falls silent. Then it hits them. Did he just shatter the champagne tower with mana resonance? One panics. Only by touching the table? Does that mean one breathes he's a graduate? Panic erupts. "You said he was a 15-year-old brat." One hisses. "You're a mid-rank expert. Do something." "Shut it," the other snaps. "If I picked a fight, I wouldn't last a second." "Hey, you," Vikir says, and one of them freezes. "I swear we were going to pay for the alcohol ourselves," he blurts. "Of course you should pay for what you drank," Vikir replies. "Were you planning to enjoy the party and leave me holding the bag?" The boy realizes he has just spilled the beans on their whole scheme. They scramble to cover it. "Who would do such a despicable thing?" they cry. "We would never dare that to a Baskerville. We only wanted to test the vice-consul." They grovel, claiming the underdog city has fallen so far they needed to be sure he could resist temptation, that he has the merit to lead them. Vikir answers coldly. A master is allowed to test his dog as much as he wants. But the opposite does not hold true, he says. A dog is never allowed to test its master, no matter the situation. You feel no fear because you have some money and power. That's because you've never seen true terror, Vikir tells them. He gestures at the boy already crumpled on the floor. "Do you know why he ended up like this?" he asks the next one. "If you don't know, you deserve the same fate," Vikir warns. "I do," the boy babbles. "I think I know why." "Is that so?" Vikir says. "Then if you do know, you need a good beating. You bastard." One screams, "You think you can get away with this?" "You see," Vikir says quietly, "you don't know." He lists their crimes one by one. Kidnapping, illegal slave trafficking, contempt against the Baskerville clan. "You have committed a great many dirty deeds," he says, "and you can't take an animal without teaching it a lesson. It's time to punish filthy animals who fear nothing," Vikir declares, as the spoiled heirs of the seven clans learn exactly what real terror looks like. Locked behind bars, one of the beaten thugs is still spitting threats at Vikir. Oi, you think you can get away with this? I'm telling father. Just wait until I get out of here, he screams. I'm gonna kill you. I'll never forgive you. Now, let me go, the prisoner howls. His subordinate frets over Vikir, asking what on earth he was thinking, beating them up so badly. Vikir only tilts his head and asks if he really thinks he went overboard. Of course, the man insists. He should have towed the line better. He turned them into meat pancakes. But Vikir explains the bigger picture. These municipal leaders were meant to stamp out corruption and improve the region. Instead, they rotted so deeply, they now covet the power of the Baskerville clan itself. You can tell just by how combative they still look, Vikir says. It is proof they have not learned their lesson. So when the sun sets, he declares flatly, he is going to execute every last one of them. His subordinate can only gape, and he intends to wipe out everyone connected to them while he is at it. Are you serious, sir? Of course he is. The prisoners flip in an instant, sobbing for mercy. I'm sorry. Please spare me, one begs. I'll give everything I have. Please don't kill me. His subordinate worries the clans will retaliate. Vikir agrees they are cowardly and sly, yet capable of boldness, and they will take revenge one way or another. But their clans cannot complain, Vikir says, because every one of these men is tied to the criminal organizations of Underdog City. But do we even have evidence, sir? The subordinate asks. I have my ways, Vikir answers coldly. And if he cannot find any evidence, he will simply fabricate some. He does not care what happens afterward. Because the age of calamity is coming, he says, and he will likely be deployed to battle soon enough. And even if that never happens, he will be admitted to the academy and leave this place behind. Then he turns to the prisoners to read out their charges. The crimes of kidnapping and trafficking women. On top of that, bribing, threatening, blackmailing, assaulting, and even assassinating officials. I never did such things, the prisoner stammers. If there is evidence, I'll accept the punishment. You'll accept it only if there's evidence, Vikir repeats. You are speaking, Vikir notes, exactly like a man who is guilty but thinks there's no proof. The man clams up, unwilling to tarnish his clan's reputation, even if it costs his life. Then a torturer arrives, calling out for the vice counsel. You're finally here, Vikir says. Huh? The man reports that he has finished making the thing Vikir commissioned. Great timing, Vikir tells him. Good job. The veteran torturer marvels at the tools. He has been at this for 30 years, yet there are chilling new devices he has never seen. How did you come up with them? Vikir admits he did not invent them himself. These tools, he says, were common where he came from. Were you in hell or something, sir? The man jokes. Something like that, Vikir replies, offering to teach him a few new tricks. The torturer politely declines, saying even he might lose his lunch watching them used. How nostalgic, Vikir murmurs. With these very devices, even demon prisoners spilled all their military secrets. Torture techniques that evolved step by brutal step from dealing with demons themselves. Now, then, Vikir says, looming over his prisoner. What happened to that resolve never to talk? He wants to take his time, he says, reliving these nostalgic memories. The rumor spreads through Underdog City like wildfire. The seven trash who lived in luxury and crime have all been arrested together. It is the only thing the citizens can talk about. Aren't those the ones who treated peasants like bugs? One whispers. Others bet they will be let go after a little humiliation, since they are children of the native clans. By the letter of the law, their crimes deserve execution, but nobody believes he would truly execute children of the seven native clans. You idiot, one man scoffs. Don't you know what kind of man the new vice counsel is? He spent $10 billion on a single post. All the citizens agree it is just a game of power between the new politician and the native clans, one that would end the moment the clans bowed, even slightly. And, just as predicted, the native clans send a small token of apology to the new vice counsel. Everyone assumes the locked-up trash will be freed scot-free, walking away with nothing worse than a scolding from their fathers. Or at least, that is what everyone thought would happen. That is, until 7 severed heads were displayed in the center of the city square. The 7 heads were pickled in salt, frozen with twisted expressions, as though they had been in terrible pain right up until the moment of death. And the notice hung above them detailed every crime they had been executed for. Each charge listed a Baskerville clan law and its punishment. Illegal entertainment houses, illegal gambling, illegal money lending, lobbying. Their bodies, headless, would be exiled beyond the castle walls. It should not have been a shock, since these laws had always existed. But the fact that famous native nobles were the ones punished changes everything. Once the clans hear this declaration of war, Vikir says they will undoubtedly start scheming. And when the war of attrition begins, it will only end when one side is wiped out. Underdog City is about to drown in a bloodbath. Then Vikir turns to his manager. "You better brace yourself," he says, "because you're going to be part of the next operation." The manager freezes. "Pardon? Me? Vice Counsel?" He asks nervously, "Is this really the plan?" "Do you not trust me?" Vikir asks. "That's not it, sir," the man insists. But, he stammers, "Is this really a good idea?" Because the plan is unthinkable. Vikir intends to sell himself off as a slave. To burrow into the enemy from the inside, the Iron-Blooded Hound is about to walk straight into the lion's den, and no one who wronged him will ever see the reckoning coming.